Stop for a moment and feel this. Everything around you may still be moving, but heaven has paused for you. When God steps into your life, time itself listens. You are standing on the edge of divine interference, where the natural gives way to the supernatural. This is not just another day. It is the day heaven decided to intervene. The storm that once surrounded you is now bowing to the command of peace. What was against you will soon work for you. You have endured long nights that tested the very limits of your faith. You have asked, God, where are you? And the silence made you question your worth. Yet the silence was not punishment, it was preparation. God was not ignoring you. He was arranging the moment where his entrance would change everything. When heaven hides, it is never absence, it is strategy. There is a shift happening right now. Can you sense it? It feels like the air itself is thicker with promise. That's not your imagination, it's the atmosphere of divine visitation. When God steps in, circumstances that have been stubborn for years begin to soften. Hearts that resisted you begin to favor you. Systems that oppressed you start to serve you. Because when the King enters the room, every other power must bow. The Word of God reveals in Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." This is what heaven is whispering to your soul. Be still. You've done all you could. You've fought battles in silence. And now, the commander of heaven's armies steps in to finish what you started. You are not fighting alone anymore. The weight you carried is being lifted even as you read these words. God himself is taking over. Every tear you shed in the dark has become a weapon in the light. Every delay that made you doubt is turning into divine proof that God's timing is perfect. There is power in the pause because it is in stillness that heaven moves the loudest. You thought nothing was happening, but underground, roots were forming. Strength was building. The foundations of your next miracle were being set in secret. When God steps in, the laws of limitation are rewritten. What took others years will take you moments. Where there was resistance, there will be release. This is your turning point, the divine interruption of your suffering. Your story is not ending, it is transforming. The very ground beneath your feet is becoming holy because God is standing in your midst. You can feel the pull, can't you? The way something in your spirit responds even before your mind understands. That's the call of destiny waking you up. Heaven is realigning your steps, your thoughts, and your vision. You don't need to chase miracles anymore. They will begin to chase you. When God steps in, provision finds you, peace surrounds you, and purpose resurrects inside of you. You are being repositioned. The pain that almost crushed you is becoming the proof that you were never abandoned. Everything the enemy tried to use to bury you is turning into the soil that will grow your testimony. You are not the same person who entered this storm. You have been refined, purified, prepared. Now it is time for God to step forward and reveal what he was building all along. This moment is holy. Heaven has chosen now to remind you that you were never forgotten. Every closed door was protection. Every delay was training. And every disappointment was direction. You are about to witness what happens when divine power enters a human story. Expect movement. Expect favor. Expect restoration so sudden that even your pain won't recognize itself. So, lift your eyes. Do not let weariness speak louder than faith. God has taken command of the battlefield. The fight is no longer yours. Breathe again. Trust again. because the same God who divided seas for Moses is dividing impossibilities for you. This is the moment your story shifts from waiting to witnessing. Heaven has stepped in, and the impossible just became inevitable. If this word has stirred your spirit, don't stay silent. Respond as an act of faith. Like, share, and subscribe so others can receive what heaven is releasing in this hour. And if you know this message is for you, type this prophetic number in the comments as your seal of belief. 777. Heaven watches as you move in faith. Each act of obedience releases unseen power. Angels are aligning around your name, preparing the way before you. What once resisted you is now yielding. The presence of God is not just visiting, it's establishing residence within your atmosphere. You are no longer hidden in the shadows of delay. The light of divine timing now surrounds you. Every word you speak in faith becomes a command in the Spirit. Walk boldly, for heaven has stepped in, and nothing can reverse what God has begun in you. You remember the hidden seasons, those long stretches of silence where the world seemed to move without you. Days blurred into nights, and nights turned into quiet wars within your soul. It was as if heaven had muted its voice, and you were left to wander through unanswered prayers. Yet even then, something deeper was happening beneath the surface. God was not distant. He was disguising his work in stillness. You thought you were forgotten, but you were being formed. Every moment of loneliness was a classroom. Every delay was a lesson written in invisible ink. You learned endurance not by being celebrated, but by being unseen. The spotlight was not denied to you. It was withheld until your foundation could bear its weight. You were being stretched so that you could carry more later. And while others rushed ahead, your roots grew stronger in hidden soil. There were times you begged for an answer, any sign that God was listening. But silence does not mean absence. The teacher often remains quiet during the test. In that stillness, you developed a kind of strength that only those who have wrestled with God can understand. You learned how to keep faith when there was no evidence to hold on to. You became fluent in waiting. You see now that the hidden season was not punishment, it was precision. God was protecting what he planted inside you. He could not let you bloom too soon. To reveal you before your roots were deep would have been dangerous. So he hid you, not from the world, but for the world. The quiet years were a holy incubation, a sacred delay designed to produce endurance, humility, and discernment. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 27, verse 14. Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart, and wait for the Lord. Those words were never meant to be passive comfort. They were divine strategy. To wait on God is not to do nothing, it is to align with his timing. You were learning the rhythm of heaven, a rhythm that does not rush. God's timing is not slow, it is perfect. When he moves, everything he planned meets everything you have become, and the result is destiny fulfilled in power. Looking back, you can see that in those silent years, he was shaping your perspective. You learned to recognize his voice, not in thunder, but in whispers. You began to hear purpose speaking through pain, lessons hidden inside losses, and grace emerging from grief. It was not wasted time, it was sacred formation. You outgrew people who could not go where you were headed. You were pruned from circles that only understood your past, not your promise. You were separated, not because you were unworthy, but because you were being sanctified for something greater. Isolation was your invitation into intimacy with God. He was not delaying your destiny, He was deepening your capacity. You were not standing still, you were being strengthened. Hiddenness became your holy armor, the covering that kept you safe from premature exposure. You did not realize it then, but the silence was saving you. There is a beauty in those unseen seasons that only hindsight can reveal. You learned to worship without witnesses, to trust without results, to love without applause. And that is where authenticity was born. When you finally emerge, you carry something real, an anointing that cannot be imitated because it was forged in fire and solitude. Every chosen one must endure a hidden season. Moses had the desert. Joseph had the prison. David had the caves. You had your quiet room, your sleepless nights, your unexplainable tears. But the same God who watched over them was watching over you. What He began in secrecy will be revealed in glory. Now you understand why He said no to some opportunities, why certain doors remained shut. They were not rejection, they were redirection. God was reserving you for a divine moment, one that would not require you to strive, but simply to step forward when He says, "Now." The hidden season taught you patience. But more than that, it taught you faith that doesn't depend on visibility. You learned that even when nothing moves, God is still working. That truth is the anchor of your spirit now. It holds you steady through every uncertainty. So if the silence ever returns, you will not fear it. You will remember what it built inside you. You will remember that the unseen is where God does His best work, and you will rest, knowing that what He forms in private, He reveals in power. The hidden years were never wasted. Every quiet prayer became a seed. And now the roots of your faith run deep. You were never overlooked, only preserved, until your appointed time of unveiling. Heaven was training you in secret strength. Now the silence lifts, and you begin to see why it had to be this way. The season that once felt empty was actually overflowing with purpose. You are stepping out of obscurity, carrying power that was born in stillness. There comes a moment when every chosen one reaches the breaking point. You remember yours the day your strength collapsed. Your prayers turned to silence, and the weight of waiting felt unbearable. You had done everything right, yet nothing moved. You stood at the edge of surrender, wondering if the promise had expired. But heaven was watching, and that breaking was never meant to destroy you. It was designed to reveal who you truly are when everything else falls away. You thought you were falling apart, but in truth, you were falling into alignment. God was stripping away what could not enter your next chapter. He was never punishing you, He was purifying you. The pain you felt was the sound of old chains breaking. The tears that soaked your pillow were baptisms into strength you didn't know you had. Sometimes God allows the pressure to increase so that the treasure inside you can no longer stay hidden. Diamonds are not born in comfort, but under crushing weight. The moment you felt you were breaking was the moment heaven began building something new inside you. You were being shaped into a vessel strong enough to carry what you had prayed for. The apostle reminds us in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Those words carry a mystery. What breaks you is often what builds you. Your weakness became the stage where His strength could perform. Every time you said, "I can't do this anymore," heaven answered, "Good. Now watch what I can do. That breaking wasn't your ending, it was the birth cry of transformation. You see, surrender is not failure, it is sacred release. When your will bows to His, heaven takes over the fight. The things that once made you tremble are now beneath your feet because your breaking revealed your backbone of faith. You no longer depend on circumstance to confirm His goodness. You know Him now, not through sermons, but through survival. God allowed the pressure to introduce you to yourself. The version of you standing here now wiser, calmer, spiritually alert was born through brokenness. Pain pressed the air out of pretense. Loss stripped away illusion. What remains is pure gold. Faith refined by fire. Do not despise the seasons that shattered your comfort. They built your calling. You can now speak to storms because you have stood inside them. You can comfort others because you have bled in the same places they now bleed. You carry compassion where pride once lived, and authority where fear once reigned. Your breaking point was not the grave of your destiny, it was the gate to your greatness. Every why you whispered in the dark is now being answered through the strength you carry. You no longer beg for validation, you embody victory. The valley that once swallowed your voice now echoes your testimony. So do not hide your scars, they are the signatures of survival. They remind hell that you didn't quit. You bent, but you did not break beyond repair. You wept, but you did not drown. You stumbled, but you did not stay down. You became unshakable because you were shaken. You became untouchable because you were touched by grace. What happened to you was necessary. Without that breaking, you would have settled for ordinary. Without that pressure, you would have missed your purpose. You are not damaged, you are delivered. You are not behind, you are rebuilt. You are standing in the evidence that God's strength shines brightest through surrender. Now you understand the mystery of pain. It was the voice that called you higher. Every fracture made room for light to enter. Every loss invited a deeper revelation of love. And now, when you speak, your words carry weight because they were purchased with experience. So lift your head, chosen soul. The breaking did not end you, it crowned you. What you thought was collapse was simply construction. What looked like destruction was hidden direction. Heaven used the cracks to pour in glory. And that glory is rising now from within you. If you feel this truth stirring inside you, don't scroll past. Respond in faith. Comment these simple words, I rise. When you type them, you're not just writing letters, you are declaring resurrection over your story. It is your way of saying, I refuse to stay broken, because God has made me whole. When you write, I rise, you are not speaking from pride, you are speaking from prophecy. Those two words are a declaration that no matter how heavy the fall was, grace is heavier still. You are saying that your story did not end in the valley. It continues toward victory. I rise means you refuse to identify with the pain that once defined you. It means your faith now stands taller than your fear. You are stepping into the same power that raised Christ from the dead, resurrection power flowing through every scar you carry. So type it, say it, and believe it, I rise. Let heaven witness your confession. Let darkness hear your defiance. You rise because the one who called you has already lifted you. You rise because destiny cannot stay buried. You rise because God has stepped in. There are moments when heaven invades the ordinary, when God enters a room, and everything changes. You may not see him with your eyes, But you feel it. The air shifts. Your heart steadies. And suddenly, the chaos that used to control you begins to quiet. There is no warning, no announcement, just presence, pure, holy, undeniable. The very atmosphere becomes heavy with peace. That's what happens when the divine chooses to step into human space. You've had glimpses of it before. Those sudden waves of calm that washed over you when everything should have fallen apart. The strength that appeared when you thought you had none left. The moment you felt seen, even when no one was near. That was not luck or coincidence. That was God entering your atmosphere. Every encounter was preparation for this greater revelation, the moment when His presence no longer visits but abides. When God enters the room, natural laws bow to His authority. What seemed irreversible begins to rearrange itself. Diseases retreat. Despair dissolves. And impossibilities are rewritten. There is no struggle in His presence, only surrender. And in that surrender, miracles unfold. You do not have to force it, nor do you have to prove your worth to deserve it. You simply yield, and His glory fills the space your fear once occupied. Scripture says in John, chapter 11, verse 40, "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" Those words were spoken before Lazarus walked out of the tomb, but they echo still. They remind you that seeing glory begins with believing. God doesn't wait for situations to make sense before He moves. He moves to make sense of them. When faith opens the door, His presence steps in, and everything that was dying begins to live again. You may have been standing beside something that looked dead, a dream, a relationship, a purpose. You mourned it, buried it, and told yourself it was over. But when God enters the room, graves turn into gardens. He speaks to what has stopped breathing and commands it to rise. What you thought was finished is only sleeping, waiting for the sound of His voice. When His presence fills your space, your perspective changes. You stop measuring your situation by its size and start measuring it by His sovereignty. You realize that the one who created time is not bound by it. The one who formed you knows every detail of your story, even the ones you tried to erase. His entry reveals that nothing in your life is wasted, not the pain, not the waiting, not even the mistakes. He uses it all. The presence of God doesn't always arrive in thunder and fire. Sometimes it comes in a whisper so gentle that only the still can hear it. It is in that sacred quiet where burdens lift and revelation unfolds. He does not come to condemn you. He comes to remind you that you are still chosen, still loved, still called. You are His dwelling place, His living temple. When He steps into your room, He is not visiting, He is claiming what already belongs to Him. The moment His presence touches your reality, the atmosphere of your heart changes. Fear that once dictated your choices loses its grip. Anxiety that clouded your mind dissolves under the weight of divine peace. His love does not just comfort, it reconstructs. You begin to see yourself through the eyes of grace, not guilt. You realize that the power you've been searching for has been within you all along because His Spirit lives there. When God enters the room, time slows. You begin to notice things that were always there, the quiet beauty in your surroundings, the warmth in your chest, the still rhythm of your breathing. Every sense becomes aware that something holy has arrived, and in that awareness, healing begins. You are no longer striving to earn what has already been given. You simply receive. There is no formula to summon his presence. It comes through invitation, through openness, through authenticity. When your heart whispers, "Come, Lord, I need you," heaven answers immediately. He never resists humility. He never ignores hunger. And once he steps in, he does not leave empty-handed. He brings peace, restoration, and revelation, everything you need, wrapped in his presence. So if your surroundings still feel dark, pause, breathe, recognize that even in the silence, he is there. God does not need permission to enter, but he delights in being welcomed. And when you welcome him, he doesn't just visit your life, he transforms it from within. When God enters the room, the impossible is redefined, and your story becomes a living testimony of his glory. You may not see the full picture yet, but you can trust this truth: every room he enters, he redeems. Every heart he touches, he restores. Every life he inhabits, he transforms. Something in the atmosphere begins to stir, a subtle shift, a movement you can feel but not yet see. It's the moment when heaven begins to rearrange things in your favor. You sense it deep within your spirit. Something invisible is now visible to faith. This is what it means when God releases a shift in the spirit. What you could not move by effort, grace begins to move by command. What once felt delayed suddenly aligns with divine timing. The change rarely starts outside. It begins inside you, like the first tremor before a wave breaks upon the shore. A peace begins to settle in, and you can tell that something has changed. The confusion that once clouded your vision begins to lift. God has begun to shift your life from wandering to walking in purpose. As was spoken in Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 5, "Look at the nations and watch, and be utterly amazed. For I am going to do something in your days that you would not believe." Even if you were told, this is that season, you are standing on the threshold of the unbelievable. What is forming in your life right now is not luck, it's orchestration. Heaven is conducting a divine symphony, and every note is falling into place with precision. The same situations that once drained you are now becoming doorways to growth. Every disappointment is turning into divine direction. The Spirit is shifting your perspective so that you see not loss, but preparation. You may feel the weight of change pressing on you, but that's the pressure of promise. Heaven is pushing you into position. It's not chaos, it's construction. You are being built for something bigger than comfort. This shift is realignment. It's the gentle but powerful hand of God moving pieces you didn't even know were out of place. When a shift happens, it can be unsettling at first. Old things fall away. Familiar patterns break. People who once understood you may no longer recognize you. But don't resist it. The shaking is not destruction. It's deliverance. God is loosening everything that cannot stand where He's taking you. He's removing what clings to the old season, so your hands are free to receive the new. And when you feel that change in your heart, when the tears begin to flow, when peace replaces panic, remember, that's the evidence that heaven has already moved. The shift has started, not because you forced it, but because you finally surrendered to it. Now, as this message finds its way to your spirit, I invite you gently let gratitude guide your response. Think of it like planting a small seed of light into the soil of faith. Every time you you let that light glow a little brighter. Every time you share, you let it travel farther. drifting like a lantern across dark waters. When you subscribe, you build another bridge where heaven can reach hearts still waiting. And when you donate, even the smallest drop becomes part of a great river that keeps this message flowing toward the thirsty. No one is asked, only invited. Giving, whether a click, a share, or a seed, is never a condition. It's communion. It's your way of saying, I want this flame to reach someone else. When your heart stirs, let it pour out freely. What leaves your hand in love never leaves your life. It circles back as peace, favor, and open doors, like a candle lighting another without losing its own fire. Your simple act can illuminate an entire path for someone still in shadow. So, like, share, subscribe, or donate if your heart feels led not to repay, but to release. You are part of this divine chain of light that turns one spark into a sunrise. This is the beauty of a divine shift. It doesn't just change you. It changes everything connected to you. You become a channel of movement, a vessel of transformation, a living testimony that God still steps in and still turns the impossible into possible. So, let this word dwell in you tonight. The shift has begun. You don't have to force it. You don't have to chase it. Just stay open, stay faithful, and stay grateful. The same spirit that stirred the waters in Genesis is stirring your life now. And soon, you will see what your heart already knows: God has moved. And nothing will ever be the same again. The wind of change is already whispering your name. You may not see the full picture, but heaven has begun the unveiling. Every moment ahead carries divine orchestration. Trust that the shift is for you. Let your heart rest. What once felt uncertain is now being rewritten by grace. The same spirit that spoke light into darkness is speaking renewal into every part of your story. You are safe in His movement. Step gently into this new rhythm. Each sunrise will reveal another layer of purpose. The divine shift has begun, and you are walking within the heartbeat of heaven itself. There is a holy stirring in the unseen, the kind that announces something long awaited is finally moving. You have waited, prayed, and hoped through seasons that tested everything inside you. But now, heaven is whispering. It's in motion. The miracle that once felt distant has already left eternity and entered time. You may not see it yet, but it is traveling toward you. When divine timing and human obedience collide, what was once impossible begins to manifest. Everything that seemed delayed was never denied. It was simply being prepared. Heaven does not rush miracles, it perfects them. Each moment of waiting was a part of God's choreography, setting the stage for this moment of unveiling. You might still be in the middle of the process, but something has changed. The silence that once surrounded your prayers now feels alive, as if creation itself is listening for the sound of fulfillment. That's because the miracle isn't waiting for permission, it's already been released. The shift has become motion, and motion has become manifestation. Heaven speaks clearly through Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. Let us not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. You have sown tears into the soil of faith, and God has seen every one of them. What you thought were moments of loss were actually acts of planting. Now the soil is responding, and what was buried in sorrow will soon rise in joy. The divine timeline has caught up with your obedience. Your persistence has pulled your promise into the present. The miracle is not coming, it's here. You're standing in the first wave of it now. Notice the signs: peace returning to your heart, clarity beginning to unfold, unexpected favor appearing from places you never looked. These are not random, they are heaven's fingerprints. You are walking into a season where God's acceleration will outpace your explanation. Things that took others years will come to you in moments. Conversations will open doors. What was blocked will flow. What was hard will become effortless. Because when God moves, resistance melts. There will come a moment, soon, when you'll look back and realize it happened while you were trusting. You didn't force it. You didn't chase it. It found you. The miracle was not delayed. It was perfectly timed to meet the version of you that could carry it with humility and wisdom. Do not fear the pace of change. When God begins to move, it can feel sudden, but His timing is never reckless. Every divine acceleration carries protection within it. You are not stepping into chaos, you are stepping into divine completion. And when it happens, give thanks. Celebrate not just the miracle, but the journey that built your capacity to hold it. Gratitude will anchor you in the flow of favor. The same faith that brought you here will keep you steady as new blessings unfold. There is a sacred principle in motion. Now what you release in faith returns multiplied. You've prayed, believed, and persevered. Now heaven honors that with overflow. Let your heart stay open and your hands stay lifted. The same God who began this good work will perfect it in His time. You are entering the harvest of obedience, where everything you endured starts to make sense. You'll see why it took time, why certain doors stayed closed, and why certain people left. None of it was random, it was refinement. Every detour was divine redirection. And now, as you read this, let your spirit agree with what heaven has already set in motion. The miracle is not waiting for you to earn it, it's waiting for you to receive it. If this word resonates deeply in your heart, take a small but prophetic step of faith. Comment the number 5,555 below. Let it be your declaration in the Spirit, a silent but powerful agreement that your life is entering divine transformation and grace multiplied. Why 5,555? Because the number 5 in Scripture represents grace, favor, and divine completion through mercy. When repeated 4 times, it speaks of grace overflowing into every dimension of your life, your spirit, mind, body, and destiny. It means what is shifting now will not only bless you, but those connected to you. So type 5,555 as your prophetic act. You're not chasing miracles, you're aligning with them. As you do, heaven takes note of your faith and begins to move even faster on your behalf. This is your confirmation. The miracle is not just in motion, it's accelerating toward manifestation. When you comment 5,555, you are not typing numbers, you are testifying. Each 5 carries the sound of grace unfolding in new layers. You are declaring that mercy is multiplying, that heaven's rhythm and your heartbeat are finally moving as one. 5,555 is your amen in motion, your silent agreement with divine timing. It means, I receive the new. As you release it, you mark the ground of your faith. The unseen takes shape, and your miracle begins to manifest visibly. There comes a realization deeper than anything you have known before. It's the moment you understand you were never waiting for a miracle. you were becoming one. Every delay, every disappointment, every broken piece was not meant to stop you. It was meant to shape you into a living testimony of divine power. You were the vessel God was preparing to carry His glory. The miracle was not external, it was internal, quietly forming in the depths of your being. When you think back, you can see it now. Every time life pressed you, something radiant pushed back. The strength you thought you lost became light to others. The peace you found in pain became healing to someone watching from afar. That's what happens when God's glory rests upon a person. They stop being defined by their wounds and start shining through them. You were not being tested to prove your weakness. You were being refined to reveal His strength. You are a carrier of glory, even when you feel fragile. The treasure was never placed in perfect vessels. It was placed in broken ones so the light could escape. The world doesn't need your perfection. It needs your presence, your willingness to stand as living proof that grace still works. Every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, patience over anger, faith over fear, you release glory into the atmosphere. The apostle reminds us in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 7, "But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." That verse holds the secret of your strength. You are the jar. He is the treasure. You may feel ordinary, even cracked, but the light inside you is extraordinary. Your weakness doesn't disqualify you. It reveals the brilliance of what's within. Without the cracks, the world would never see the light. Without the struggle, the testimony would never carry weight. You are not an accident of circumstance. You are the chosen vessel of divine evidence. Think of it this way: when gold is placed in fire, it doesn't lose value, it gains purity. When diamonds are cut, they don't lose strength, they gain brilliance. Likewise, your pain didn't reduce your worth, it revealed your resilience. God didn't choose you because you were flawless. He chose you because you were willing. And through that willingness, He made you a living conduit of His presence. There is something profoundly holy about being a vessel. It means you are not the source, yet you are trusted with the flow. You do not generate the miracle, you carry it. Your words, your faith, your prayers, they are channels through which heaven touches earth. And even when you feel empty, that emptiness becomes invitation space for God to pour Himself in again. When others see you now, they might not understand the process that shaped you. They see peace, but not the nights you wrestled for it. They see confidence, but not the tears that built it. They see glory, but not the crushing that released it. Yet every step of your journey, every scar and sigh, was holy ground. Nothing was wasted, not 1 second of it. You are evidence that God inhabits the broken, that He chooses the lowly to display His majesty. You carry more than you realize. Every time you speak life, darkness retreats. Every time you love when it's hard, chains break in unseen places. You are a walking intersection between heaven and earth, a carrier of divine energy clothed in human skin. And sometimes you will forget this truth. You will see only the cracks and not the light. But even in those moments, the glory within you does not dim, it only waits. The Spirit within you never withdraws. He remains, steady and radiant, waiting for your awareness to awaken again. The enemy fears those who know what they carry. That's why he tries to convince you that you are empty, unworthy, or forgotten. But remember, this emptiness is the beginning of infilling. Weakness is the gateway to strength. When you stop trying to be your own source, God floods in with everything you need. There will be days when your light flickers, when fatigue whispers that you've given all you can. But the miracle inside you doesn't run on human strength, it runs on divine supply. Each act of trust refuels it. Each whisper of faith rekindles it. You are not just surviving, you are radiating. This is what it means to be a carrier of glory, to walk through darkness and still glow, to endure pain and still praise, to live as living proof that heaven dwells in humanity. You are not merely blessed, you are sent. Wherever you go, you bring His presence. You are the answer to someone's silent prayer, the light at the end of someone else's tunnel. So, walk gently, but walk boldly. You are carrying something sacred. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is alive within you. And because of that truth, your very existence declares hope that no matter how fragile the vessel, the glory within it is unstoppable. There is a reason the darkness tried so hard to silence you before the breakthrough. The closer you came to your moment of release, the more violent the resistance became. Every chosen one must face it, the battle before the wonder. It's the threshold test, the enemy's last desperate attempt to make you doubt what heaven already decided. You may remember that pressure. It came in waves, sudden opposition, unexpected setbacks, confusion that clouded your clarity. You questioned your calling, your strength, and sometimes even your faith. Yet in those moments of warfare, something unshakable was being formed inside you. You learned how to stand when standing made no sense. You discovered that peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the presence of God in the middle of it. There's something sacred about those battles you fought alone. Heaven saw every silent tear. Every time you chose faith over frustration. The war wasn't against your future, it was against your awakening. Darkness trembles at the thought of a believer who finally realizes their authority. The moment you recognize that power doesn't come from comfort, but from conviction, the enemy lost his grip. As the scripture declares in Ephesians chapter 6, verse 13, "Therefore put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything, to stand." That verse isn't just a command, it's a revelation. God never promised you a life without battles. He promised you strength to stand through them. The armor He gave you wasn't decorative, it was divine defense. Your faith became your shield. Your truth became your belt. And your prayers became your sword. The very things meant to break you became weapons forged in fire. Warfare before wonder is not punishment, it is proof that heaven's promise is near. The enemy doesn't waste energy on what isn't dangerous. His attacks revealed your significance. Every spiritual blow was confirmation that you carry something precious. If there had been nothing inside you worth stealing, there would have been no fight. The intensity of your warfare was a measurement of your worth. But here's the divine paradox. The moment of greatest pressure is also the moment of greatest potential. Like a seed buried in darkness before sprouting, you were pressed by purpose. Each trial was a contraction in the birth of something new. You weren't breaking down, you were being born again into strength, into clarity, into unshakable faith. When the battle was loud, heaven was louder. God never left you unguarded. He surrounded you with unseen armies. Angels stood beside you when you thought you were alone. They lifted you when your strength failed and whispered courage into your exhaustion. You didn't survive by chance, you survived by covering. And though you may carry scars, they are not symbols of defeat, they are marks of victory. Each one testifies that you faced darkness and did not bow. You may have bent, but you did not break. You may have stumbled, but you did not stop. Every step forward was warfare won. Sometimes, the greatest miracle is endurance. To remain faithful when everything shakes around you is a form of worship. You didn't lose your fight, you found your focus. You stopped trying to win with noise and started winning with stillness. You realize that prayer isn't begging God to intervene, it's inviting Him to take command. The war before wonder always exposes what cannot enter the new season. Some relationships fell away, not because you failed them, but because they couldn't breathe in your new atmosphere. Some doors closed because they led backward. Every loss, though painful, cleared the runway for your flight. Now that the storm has passed, look at yourself. You are stronger, wiser, and sharper in spirit. You see through deception quicker. You discern danger earlier, and you hear God clearer. The warfare didn't just end, it equipped you. You're no longer shaken by the same tactics because you've seen too much of God's faithfulness to fear the darkness anymore. And here's what's even more beautiful: the same battles that once terrified you now qualify you to help others through theirs. You carry authority in the very area you once struggled in. The fire that tried to consume you has become the light you now carry for others. Warfare before wonder. It's the divine order of transformation. Before the dawn, there is always the darkest hour. Before resurrection, there must be a cross. But every wound is now a window where glory shines through. You were not defeated, you were defined. The enemy's pressure did not destroy your purpose, it proved it. So, when the next challenge arises, you'll remember. You'll feel the wind of resistance, but instead of fear, you'll feel familiarity. You've walked this road before, and you know how it ends, with light breaking through and God proving faithful again. The wonder is coming, and it carries your name. The warfare was not wasted, it was the prophecy of your victory. There are moments when the unseen becomes undeniable, when you sense a presence so strong it makes the air itself feel alive. This is that kind of moment. The spiritual realm is not silent, it is moving, operating, and aligning with divine order. You are not alone in your battles, your prayers, or your journey. Heaven has assigned help to your name. Angels, holy messengers of light, have been dispatched on your behalf. You might not see them with your physical eyes, but their evidence surrounds you. That sudden protection from harm, that inexplicable peace in crisis, that door that opened without reason, these are the footprints of your heavenly allies. They move quietly but powerfully, sent directly from the throne to carry out God's instructions concerning your destiny. As it is written in Psalm, chapter 91, verse 11, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." You are not an afterthought, you are under divine command. Heaven issues assignments over you daily. Angels don't act on emotion, they act on instruction. And those instructions come from God's word, spoken through your faith. Every time you declare His promises out loud, you activate movement in the unseen. Your prayers become coordinates. Your worship becomes atmosphere, and your obedience becomes signal. There have been moments you thought you narrowly escaped something by luck, but luck has nothing to do with it. Angels surrounded you. They stood between you and what was meant to destroy you. Some battles you never even saw were fought and won before you opened your eyes that morning. Heaven intervened silently because your mission on earth was not yet complete. You are a chosen carrier of light, and darkness knows it. That's why the fight around you has been intense, because the enemy sees the reinforcement behind you. When angels move, darkness cannot linger. They are not gentle forces, they are divine warriors assigned to your protection. They do not sleep, they do not doubt, and they do not fail. Many times, the help you prayed for didn't come in the form you expected because it came with wings instead of words. While you worried about outcomes, heaven was already handling details. Angels were clearing paths, orchestrating meetings, and shielding your steps. You didn't need to understand everything, you only needed to keep walking. The realm of the Spirit operates on trust. You don't have to see angels to believe in their presence, you just have to recognize the fruit of their movement. Peace that doesn't make sense. Strength that doesn't match your circumstances. Hope that returns out of nowhere. Those are angelic fingerprints. There are angels of warfare, angels of healing, angels of wisdom, and angels of provision. Each one carries divine precision, sent at the exact moment heaven knows you need them. They are not there to replace your faith, but to respond to it. Your prayers are their command, your praise is their fuel. Imagine the unseen coordination of heaven, the way countless messengers move at once, all aligned with a single purpose, your preservation and promotion. You are part of a divine strategy much larger than yourself. God's kingdom advances through your obedience, and angels are the infrastructure that supports your mission. So, when you feel surrounded by trouble, remember, you are even more surrounded by help. The battlefield is never empty. For every obstacle you see, there are unseen hands holding the line. For every threat that rises, there are legions standing between you and destruction. The next time fear whispers that you're alone, silence it with truth. You are backed by heaven's armies. You are covered by divine command. Angels stand watch, not because you are perfect, but because you are chosen. They move not out of pity, but out of purpose to ensure you finish what God began in you. And when you step into new territory, new challenges, new seasons, know this heaven moves with you. You don't walk into rooms alone. You carry an escort of light, invisible yet invincible. Every assignment from God comes with divine assistance. Right now, even as you read this, the unseen realm is alive with motion. The things you've prayed for are already in transit. Angels are preparing, carrying, protecting, and delivering. It may take time for your eyes to see what your faith already knows, but it's happening. If you feel this truth stirring in your spirit, type these words below as your act of faith: I'm covered. When you comment it, you're not writing for others, you're declaring awareness. You're agreeing with heaven's reality that you are not walking alone. It's your acknowledgement that protection surrounds you, that divine help is active, and that no darkness can cross the line heaven has drawn around your life. When you write, I'm covered, you affirm that heaven's shield is alive around you. It means the unseen armies are active. The presence of God is near, and you are walking under divine supervision where no weapon, seen or unseen, can prosper against you. There comes a moment when everything hidden begins to surface, when heaven decides it is time for what has been prepared in silence to be seen in the light. You have walked through years of obscurity, carrying promises that few believed in, enduring seasons when your worth was questioned and your potential overlooked. But now, heaven is ready to reveal what it has built in you. The curtain is lifting, and the spotlight of grace is shining on the work of God within your life. When God reveals what He's done in you, it isn't to glorify you, it's to glorify Himself through you. Everything that felt wasted now becomes testimony. Every rejection becomes redirection. Every private pain becomes public power. This is what it means when heaven calls for a public reveal. It's the unveiling of the divine investment inside you. As it was written in Luke, chapter 8, verse 17, "For there is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed, and nothing concealed that will not be known or brought out into the open." That verse is not about exposure in shame, it's about revelation in glory. God hides His treasures until the right season, so they are protected from premature judgment. What was hidden in your heart, the purity, the strength, the faith refined by tears, is now being displayed as evidence that He is faithful. The world is about to witness what heaven already celebrated. When God reveals His work, it's never sudden to Him, it only feels sudden to you. You have been under divine construction all along. Every quiet yes, every silent prayer, every decision to keep believing when no one clapped for you, it all built the foundation of this moment. Now heaven says, "Show them what I've done." This reveal is not about being seen, it's about being sent. You are not stepping onto a stage to perform, but to proclaim. Your story is the sermon someone has been waiting to hear. Your survival is proof that grace works. And when people look at you and wonder how you made it, they will encounter the God who carried you. Every chosen one reaches this moment, the unveiling of purpose. But with revelation comes responsibility to reflect the light, not compete with it. The glory is never ours to keep. It flows through us like sunlight through glass. When you allow that light to shine freely, others find their way out of the shadows. And as this message finds its way to you, I want to speak gently to your heart. If these words have strengthened you, inspired you, or reminded you that God is still working behind the scenes, consider helping us continue to reach more hearts like yours. Every time you like this message, you help it rise through the noise like a flame that catches wind and travels farther than it could alone. Each share becomes a ripple in a still pond, carrying truth into places your voice cannot reach. When you subscribe, you are planting roots into a growing field of light, becoming part of a community that believes in hope. And if you ever feel led to donate, let it be like releasing a dove into the sky, free, graceful, and filled with intention. What leaves your hand in love never leaves your life. It becomes part of a great cycle of giving, where each act of generosity fuels another heart's awakening. You are not being asked, you are being invited. The same way a river invites raindrops to join its flow. Your simple act of participation helps this current of faith reach those still searching for light. There is no pressure, no condition, no guilt, only gratitude. Gratitude that you are here, that you are listening, that you are part of this story. Heaven is writing. When you give, whether a click, a share, or a seed, you're saying, I believe this light should keep shining. You're not paying for words, you're partnering with purpose. Together, We are building bridges of hope, one voice at a time. Remember, every sunrise begins as a whisper in the dark. Every great movement begins with one heart choosing to act in faith. You are that heart now. You are part of the unfolding of something sacred and unstoppable. So as heaven unveils you, let your generosity, whether through encouragement, support, or simple engagement, be part of that unveiling. Let your life continue to echo this truth, that when we give, light multiplies. And, in this shared moment between us, know this: you are not giving to a message. You are giving to the mission, to the continuation of divine words, reaching weary hearts, reminding them they are not forgotten. Like, share, subscribe, or give if you feel moved, not because you must, but because you can, because light, when shared, grows stronger, because your one act of kindness can ignite hope in someone else's darkest hour. The reveal is here, not just for your life, but through your life. Let it shine, let it flow, let it heal. When the noise of striving finally fades, something beautiful begins to rise, flow. You start to realize that life in God was never meant to be a battle of effort, but a rhythm of surrender. The more you release control, the more everything begins to align. The blessings that once seemed distant begin to find you without struggle. You stop chasing, and you start attracting. You stop forcing doors open, and you begin walking through the ones grace has already unlocked. This is the season of overflow. Overflow is not about abundance alone, it's about alignment. It happens when what's inside of you finally matches what heaven has written over you. It's the place where obedience meets opportunity, where faith becomes fulfillment. You've endured the pruning, the silence, the breaking, and now the fruit of that endurance begins to show. Heaven speaks clearly through Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 2. All these blessings shall come upon you and overtake you if you obey the Lord your God. That promise is not fantasy, it's a divine principle. Blessings are not hunted, they are drawn. When your heart beats in rhythm with heaven's will, you don't have to strive to find favor. Favor finds you. It locates you in the middle of your daily life. In the simplest moments, it's peace that lingers where chaos once ruled. It's provision that arrives without panic. It's clarity that replaces confusion. The overflow is subtle at first. You begin to notice that what once drained you no longer does. You find strength in places where you used to find struggle. The same tasks that once felt heavy now flow with ease. It's not that life has become easier, it's that you've become aligned. You have learned to move with the current instead of against it. You realize that overflow doesn't mean excess, it means enough, and more to share. It's when you have peace to give, love to spare, and wisdom to pour into others. You become a river, not a reservoir. What flows through you is not meant to stay, it's meant to multiply. The more you give, the more heaven fills you again. That's the divine exchange, an endless cycle of pouring and replenishing. There was a time when you lived in survival mode, clinging tightly to what little you had. But now, your hands have learned to open. You understand that the same God who provided once will provide again. The same God who gave the first miracle can give another. Trust has replaced fear, and in that trust, flow is found. The overflow season is not loud, it is peaceful. It doesn't announce itself, it simply arrives and settles like dawn light. You find yourself breathing differently, living differently, giving differently. The anxious striving that used to define you dissolves into confidence that God has already gone before you. You stop running, and you start resting, and in that rest, miracles move faster than your old pace ever could. You begin to walk through life with quiet assurance. You no longer beg for what is already promised. You understand that the ground you stand on is already blessed. And the same Spirit that guides you is guiding your circumstances into harmony. You are learning to live in rhythm with grace. This is the rhythm of the kingdom seed. Time, harvest. You planted faith in tears. You watered it in waiting. And now the harvest is emerging, quietly but surely. Overflow isn't an explosion, it's an unveiling. It's when what was growing underground begins to reach the surface. You realize that the blessings didn't just appear, they were maturing while you were being prepared. The overflow also changes your perspective. You stop asking, "What can I gain?" and start asking, "What can I give?" Because abundance isn't about accumulation, it's about capacity, the ability to carry more love, more peace, more compassion. You become an extension of heaven's generosity. And perhaps the most powerful part of overflow is this: it doesn't end. Once you enter its rhythm, it becomes a lifestyle. Even in hard days, you sense the river still flowing underneath. Even in storms, you feel the current steady and strong. Because overflow is not dependent on circumstance, it's rooted in connection. You have learned that when you stay connected to the source, everything flows. Opportunities, peace, wisdom, they all move through the same current. It's not magic, it's alignment. Heaven flows through open hearts, not clenched fists. So now, live lightly, walk freely, breathe deeply. The river of God's goodness runs beneath every step you take. The same hands that carried you through the desert are now guiding you beside still waters. You have moved from striving into flowing, from surviving into thriving, from holding on to pouring out. This is the blessing that overtakes you, not because you demanded it, but because you surrendered to it. You are walking in the overflow, and it will never run dry. Something begins to awaken within you, a deep stirring that feels both ancient and new. It's not a new idea or a passing emotion, it's a divine recognition. The mantle that was spoken over your life long ago is stirring, ready to be activated. You can feel it like fire under the surface, like thunder waiting behind the clouds. Heaven is whispering, it's time. For too long, you've seen your gifts as random, your experiences as disconnected. But now you see the pattern, the divine weaving of moments that built your calling. Everything that confused you before now begins to make sense. You realize that the pain, the preparation, and the perseverance were all part of your training. You weren't losing time, you were gaining power. The mantle is not a symbol of pride, it's a weight of purpose. It's the invisible authority heaven places upon those who have walked through fire and refused to quit. It is power entrusted, not earned. And when it awakens, you feel it in every part of you. Your words begin to carry weight. Your presence begins to shift atmospheres, and your prayers begin to move mountains. As it was spoken in Acts, chapter 1, verse 8, "But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes on you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, and in all Judea and Samaria, and to the ends of the earth." That is the essence of the awakened mantle. It is empowerment with purpose. The Spirit does not come to decorate you with power. He comes to delegate it. You are not called to impress, you are called to impact. Your authority is not for status, it's for service. The awakening of the mantle often comes after a long season of silence, because God releases weight only where foundations are firm. He has been strengthening your character so that the power He places on you won't crush you. You've been in the background not because you were forgotten, but because you were being fortified. Now the mantle stirs, and you sense it. Words flow that you didn't plan. Insight comes that you didn't study for. Peace rests on you when chaos should have consumed you. These are not coincidences, they are confirmations. The same Spirit that hovered over creation now hovers over your destiny, preparing to activate what has been hidden within you. You may not feel ready, but calling rarely waits for comfort. God doesn't choose the qualified, He qualifies the chosen. Your willingness is what gives heaven permission to work through you. You are being handed spiritual authority, and with it comes divine responsibility to love, to lead, to intercede, to influence. When this mantle awakens, you'll notice your sensitivity to the Spirit increases. You'll feel a burden for others' healing, a passion for truth, a drive to see change. Don't run from it, it's not pressure, it's purpose. You were born for this exact assignment. You might ask, why me? The answer is simple: because you said yes when others stayed silent. Because you didn't give up when it would have been easier to walk away. Because you let God shape you instead of the world define you. That's why the mantle rests on you now. There's a holy fire rising in your soul, not to burn you out, but to burn away everything that doesn't belong. You'll speak differently, walk differently, and see differently. Not because you've changed yourself, but because the Spirit within you has awakened. And now, if you feel this stirring, if you sense that something within you is rising and aligning with heaven's call, mark this moment in faith. Comment the number 1010 below. Let it be your declaration that the mantle is awakening over your life. Why 1010? Because in the language of the Spirit, 10 represents divine order and completion. When it repeats, it speaks of double alignment, your life aligning with God's will, and heaven aligning with your obedience. It means the waiting season is over, and the walking season has begun. When you type 1010, you are saying, I accept the mantle. I choose to walk in my calling. I am ready. You're not typing digits, you're agreeing with destiny. Heaven sees it. Angels move with it. And purpose ignites because of it. When you write 1010, you are not simply entering numbers. You are acknowledging heaven's alignment over your life. It is your quiet yes to divine order. Your agreement that God's timing and your readiness have finally met. It's a spiritual handshake between your obedience and His promise. 1010 is more than a symbol. It's a signal. It represents the closing of one cycle and the birth of another. It is heaven's code, for it is finished, and it begins again. When you type it, you are declaring, I am stepping into the flow of divine assignment. Let every keystroke be a confession of faith that the mantle upon you will not sleep again. You are stepping forward, equipped, anointed, and fully aligned with heaven's rhythm. When heaven begins to move in your life, it rarely does so in isolation. Divine purpose always brings divine connections. God never designs destiny to be walked alone. He weaves lives together like threads in a tapestry, each one adding color and strength to the whole. There are people assigned to your journey, some to walk beside you, some to sharpen you, and others to open doors that no effort could have forced. These connections are not coincidences, they are coordinates on heaven's map. There were seasons when you wondered why certain people drifted away, why relationships ended without closure, or why the circle you once depended on suddenly became smaller. You saw loss, but heaven saw pruning. God was not subtracting, he was simplifying. The voices that could not discern your calling had to fade so that those who could would finally find you. When divine connection begins, it feels different. It carries peace, not confusion. It flows easily, without manipulation or striving. These are the relationships where your spirit feels seen, where conversations breathe life, not competition. Heaven aligns hearts, not egos. You'll know it because the connection doesn't drain you, it strengthens you. According to what is revealed in Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 16, a gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. That verse isn't about money or influence, it's about purpose. Your gifts, spiritual, creative, emotional, are the keys that unlock divine partnerships. When you walk boldly in your God-given ability, you attract others who are doing the same. Alignment happens naturally because heaven recognizes its own reflection. You will notice that divine connections often come disguised as ordinary encounters, a chance meeting, a random conversation, a shared moment that feels strangely significant. These are how heaven introduces new chapters. God hides his answers inside people. Every time you pray for help, he sends it in human form, a mentor, a friend, a supporter, sometimes even a stranger whose words pierce your heart like prophecy. These connections do not compete with your purpose, they complete it. Where you are weak, they are strong. Where you lack vision, they bring clarity. Together, you form a bridge that carries heaven's agenda further than either of you could alone. This is the divine law of partnership. One plants, another waters, but God gives the increase. Some of these connections will feel like mirrors, reflecting parts of you that you forgot existed. Others will feel like doors, pulling you into rooms of opportunity. A few will feel like anchors, keeping you steady when your spirit feels restless. All of them serve a holy purpose, each one a link in the chain of your destiny. The challenge, however, is discernment. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some are seasonal, they come to teach, to heal, or to reveal, then move on. Others are covenant, they are sent to walk the long road with you. The key is listening to the quiet leading of the Spirit, not the noise of emotion. The wrong partnership can drain destiny, the right one can double it. Heaven's connections are not built on convenience, they are rooted in calling. They demand honesty, humility, and honor. They are not transactional, they are transformational. You grow, they grow, and together, the kingdom expands. When God connects two people, it's never just for comfort, it's for impact. If you look closely, you'll see that every breakthrough in Scripture was linked to a divine connection. Moses had Aaron, Ruth had Naomi, David had Jonathan, Paul had Timothy. Even Jesus moved with his chosen circle. Destiny may begin in solitude, but it flourishes in relationship. There will come a time soon when you will recognize new faces around you, and something in your spirit will say, "This is divine." Don't overthink it, just flow with it. Heaven has already vetted what is being sent your way. The people entering your life now are not random, they are required. They will carry wisdom for your next step, perspective for your next level, and encouragement for your next battle. Be prepared. Divine connection often begins in the most unlikely places. It may happen through pain, through failure, or through something that seems insignificant. But what feels ordinary to you is often orchestrated by God's extraordinary plan. So walk with your eyes open and your spirit alert. God is building your network of destiny one person at a time. Some will come to teach you how to lead, others will remind you how to rest. Some will walk beside you quietly. Others will speak with thunder, but all will confirm one thing, that you are no longer walking alone. And in that realization, peace will settle in your soul. You'll see that you never lost anyone essential. Heaven simply rearranged your company to match your calling. Divine connections are the bridges between what you prayed for and what you will soon live in. There comes a sacred moment when all the trials, all the quiet nights, all the hidden sacrifices begin to make sense. It's when you finally see who you are in God's eyes, and it feels like a crown is being gently placed back upon your head. Not the kind of crown the world gives, made of gold or glory, but one woven with purpose, peace, and divine identity. This is your crowning moment, not a reward for perfection, but for perseverance. You did not earn it, you endured it. You were never meant to live beneath the weight of shame or the voice of comparison. Heaven has always seen you as royalty chosen, redeemed, and equipped. The world may have tried to strip your confidence, but God never changed his mind about you. Even when you forgot your name, he remembered it. Even when you broke under pressure, he was preparing restoration. The crown has always been yours. This is simply the moment you reclaim it, as declared in Revelation. Chapter 3, verse 11, I am coming soon. Hold on to what you have, so that no one will take your crown. That verse isn't a warning born of fear, it's an invitation to remembrance. God isn't telling you to cling anxiously to what you have. He's urging you to recognize your worth and protect what was always sacred. The crown symbolizes identity. It's a reminder that no matter what the journey has cost, your position as a child of the Most High was never revoked. The crown is invisible, yet it changes everything. When you wear it in awareness, you walk differently, you speak differently, you treat yourself with the dignity heaven placed within you. The world might still see the old you, but heaven sees the reigning one. You no longer live for approval, you live from acceptance. You no longer chase validation, you carry value. Your crowning moment often comes quietly. There's no applause, no grand announcement, just a deep inner knowing that something has shifted. It's that moment when your heart finally stops fighting what God has already forgiven. When you look at your reflection and, instead of regret, you see grace. When you realize that all along, the breaking wasn't the end of you, it was the refining of you. Every crown carries weight. It's not just an ornament, it's a responsibility. It calls you to stand taller, to act with integrity, to walk in love even when it's difficult. The crown doesn't make you better than others, it reminds you to lift others higher. True kings and queens in the spirit do not rule by domination, but by compassion. There was a time you doubted that you could ever rise again. The shame of failure, the echoes of rejection, the scars of your past, each one tried to convince you that you had forfeited your destiny. But heaven never stopped preparing your coronation. Even in your lowest moments, grace was rebuilding your throne. Every tear polished the gold of endurance. Every prayer rebuilt the foundation of your authority. Now, when you walk, you carry quiet power. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. Your peace is proof enough. You don't chase crowns made of applause. You wear the one made of obedience. The authority you now carry comes from surrender, not status. It's the kind of authority that can only come from walking through pain and coming out purified. This is what your crown represents: restoration after ruin, dignity after defeat, strength after surrender. It is heaven's way of saying, you made it. You remained faithful. You did not let go. You may not feel like royalty every day. There will still be mornings when you question your worth. But remember, the crown doesn't disappear just because you forget it's there. It remains, unshaken, resting on your spirit. You only need to adjust your posture to feel its weight again. Wear it with humility, but never hide it. It's not pride to stand tall. It's gratitude to the one who restored you. The crown is not about status. It's about stewardship. The stewardship of grace, wisdom, and compassion that you now carry into every space you enter. The journey to this moment was not easy, but it was sacred. The battles that bruised you became the proof that you were chosen. The fire that frightened you became the forge that refined you. The losses that broke you became the lessons that crowned you. And now, as you stand here stronger, wiser, softer, you finally understand what this crown means. It means you survived what was meant to silence you. It means you chose faith when fear screamed louder. It means that heaven saw you as royalty all along. And now the world will begin to see it too. Walk with your head high, not out of pride, but out of remembrance. You are not who you used to be. You wear a crown of redemption, and nothing, not even the weight of the past, can take it away. There comes a time when the crown no longer rests quietly on your head. It begins to speak through your actions. You start to realize that your story was never meant to stay confined within your own walls. The lessons you've carried, the victories you've fought for, the faith you've built, they are all meant to echo beyond you. Heaven does not anoint in isolation. It appoints with purpose. The moment you rise into your identity, the call expands beyond personal healing. It becomes a call to nations. You might not travel across oceans or stand before crowds, but every word you speak, every act of kindness, every prayer whispered in faith sends ripples farther than you can imagine. The influence of a chosen one is not measured in followers or fame, but in faith that multiplies. You have become a living message, your life preaching louder than your voice ever could. As Jesus himself declared in Matthew, chapter 28, verse 19, "Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit." That commission wasn't reserved for prophets and preachers. It was spoken to every believer who carries light. You are that light. The nations you reach may not be geographical. They may be emotional, spiritual, digital. Sometimes nations are the hearts around you that hunger for hope. The call is simple: to shine, to tell your story, to love loudly, to live like heaven still speaks through you. Your story carries oil, each scar, a lamp filled with testimony. When you share it, you don't boast, you pour. You pour into souls still thirsty, into minds still weary, into hearts that forgot miracles still happen. The world is desperate for authenticity, and your life, with all its flaws and victories, is proof that God still moves. Now, as you reflect on what has been spoken to your spirit, I want to gently invite you, not as a demand, but as a continuation of that ripple to help this light reach further. Every small act of support is like tossing a stone of hope into still water, and the ripples never end. When you like this message, think of it as lighting a candle in a vast cathedral. Its flame joins thousands of others, illuminating the path for those still walking through shadow. When you share, it's like sending a bottle into the ocean somewhere. Someone will find it right when they need it most. When you subscribe, you're not signing up for noise, you're anchoring yourself to a current of faith, a river that carries encouragement to your spirit week after week. And when you donate, imagine planting a seed beneath a sunrise. What you sow in love will grow into a tree that shelters countless souls. This isn't about transaction, it's about transformation. You are not giving to a person, you are giving through purpose. And if a word here has touched your heart, leave a few words below, not as routine, but as remembrance. When you comment, think of it as laying a small stone on a sacred path, a marker that says, I was here, and I felt God's touch. Every comment becomes part of this living altar of hope, a trail of faith that others will one day follow toward their own awakening. Nothing here is forced. The Spirit never compels through guilt, but invites through gratitude. You give because you've received. You share because you've been changed. This is how revival begins, not with obligation, but with overflow. You might never know the names of the lives you touch, but heaven will. Every click, every share, every prayer becomes part of a story far bigger than this screen. Together, we form a constellation of faith, each small light joining to make one radiant sky. So if this message has met you in your quiet place, let gratitude be your only motivation. Like, share, comment, subscribe, or give only if it stirs joy, not pressure. Let your action be your amen. Let your generosity be your hallelujah. You are not just a listener, you are a lighthouse. Every time you pass this message forward, another soul finds their way home. Every act of kindness carries farther than you think, because light, once released, never returns empty. It travels, it transforms, it testifies. So let your faith flow freely. Let your giving, whatever form it takes, be your poetry of gratitude. You are part of something sacred, a chorus of hope rising from countless hearts around the world. This is your call to the nations, not to stand above them, but to stand among them, shining. And as you do, heaven watches with joy, whispering the same words it has always spoken over you. Well done, faithful one. Keep the light burning. And as the final echo of heaven settles over you, remember your light was never small. You were never meant to hide. The same flame that found you will now move through you, guiding others home through the endless night. There comes a moment in every chosen one's journey when you no longer chase signs, you become one. Your very existence, your peace, your perseverance, your quiet strength, becomes the evidence that God is still at work in human hearts. You start to realize that miracles are not just what you witness, they are what you embody. You are the living proof of what grace can build from ashes. You've been through storms that should have erased your faith. Yet here you stand stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than before. The battles didn't break you, they birthed vision. The nights you thought were endings were really beginnings in disguise. What you carry now is not fear, it's fire. A flame lit by every prayer, every tear, every moment of surrender. The voice of God thundered in Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. That command is not a suggestion, it is an awakening. To arise means to refuse the identity that pain tried to give you. To shine means to release the glory that has always been within you. You were never meant to dim yourself to fit the world's comfort. The light within you was designed to disturb the darkness, to announce transformation, to bring clarity where confusion once reigned. The glory that rests on you now is not decorative, it's functional. It's meant to illuminate paths for others, to bring warmth to the cold-hearted, to draw wandering souls back to their source. Every chosen one is both torchbearer and mirror, reflecting heaven while lighting the earth. But walking in that light requires courage, because the moment you begin to shine, shadows will react, not because you are wrong, but because light exposes what is hidden. Do not take the resistance personally, it's proof that your radiance is real. The more you glow, the more darkness is forced to flee. You will begin to notice divine radiance, not only in your spirit, but in the way people respond to your presence. Strangers will feel peace around you without knowing why. Friends will seek your counsel, drawn to something they can't explain. This is the glory of God flowing through you, quiet, steady, unstoppable. You don't have to announce it, it announces itself. The world is full of noise, but light doesn't compete with sound. It simply shines. You don't need to argue your worth or defend your destiny. Just live it. Every time you choose love over bitterness, you shine. Every time you forgive, you shine. Every time you believe again after disappointment, you shine. You are fulfilling your divine assignment without even realizing it. There was a time you prayed for external miracles, unaware that heaven was shaping you into one. Now, you've become the answer to prayers you once prayed. You are the living manifestation of God's faithfulness, a walking promise fulfilled. Sometimes shining means being still. Light doesn't shout to be seen, it simply stands, radiant and unwavering. It knows its place, and it knows its source. So, when you face another season of uncertainty, remember, you don't have to chase assurance. You are the sign. You are the evidence. You'll find that your light becomes a magnet for divine timing, the right people, opportunities, and moments will be drawn to you, not because of effort, but because light attracts alignment. That is the mystery of divine radiance. You don't chase what's meant for you, you illuminate the path so it can find you. And yet, even in all this brightness, humility becomes your anchor. True light doesn't blind, it guides. It does not demand attention, it creates revelation. The closer you walk with God, the more you realize that shining isn't about glory, it's about grace. It's about becoming a vessel that reflects the source without trying to replace it. There will be times when your light flickers. Life may press against you, and weariness may whisper that you've lost your glow. But even in dimness, the flame never dies, it only waits for breath. The Spirit of God within you is that breath. When you feel empty, inhale His presence, and you'll find the fire again. Your glow is not temporary, it is eternal. It comes from the same source that set the stars in motion, the same breath that spoke worlds into being. You are carrying that spark. The world may overlook it, but heaven never does. So let this truth settle deeply in you. You are not striving to become the light, you already are. The journey was never about becoming worthy of it. It was about remembering it. And now that you do, the radiance of heaven will follow you wherever you go. You are the sign, the signal, the living reminder that darkness never wins. Shine. Chosen one, not because you need to be seen, but because you were created to illuminate. Listen closely. Chosen one, this is not coincidence, and it's not chance. Heaven has paused your timeline for a reason. There is something shifting in the unseen, something sacred moving toward you. This is the moment where divine interruption meets divine intention, where what was delayed suddenly begins to rise. You are not hearing these words by mistake. You are hearing them because God has chosen this exact breath in time to awaken you. For a long time, you've been standing on the edge of change, sensing something stirring but unable to define it. You've walked through seasons of silence, carrying faith like a flickering candle in a storm. You've endured unanswered prayers and unseen battles, and yet you are still here. That in itself is a miracle, proof that heaven has been holding you all along. The Spirit is whispering, your waiting was not wasted. Every tear watered the soil of tomorrow. Every disappointment became a seed of preparation. You were not being punished, you were being positioned. There are moments in life when God does not move immediately, not because He is absent, but because He is aligning. You were never abandoned, only arranged. The Word of God declares in Isaiah, chapter 40, verse 31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." That verse was never meant to sound poetic. It was meant to sound prophetic. God is not just renewing your strength, He's restoring your wings. You are not meant to crawl through life. You are meant to rise, to soar, to see from higher places. Every hardship was training your flight muscles. Every delay was teaching you endurance. The pain was not random, it was preparation for altitude. There's something extraordinary about eagles. They do not fight storms, they use them. While smaller birds seek shelter, eagles open their wings and let the wind lift them higher. That's what this season is doing for you. The wind that once resisted you is now becoming your lift. The storm that tried to bury you will now elevate you. What was once your enemy will become your energy. You are entering a moment when heaven steps in, not subtly, but suddenly. You will begin to notice divine fingerprints all around you, things falling into place without your effort, doors opening without your knocking, peace appearing where panic once lived. This is what happens when God decides the time is now. You don't have to chase this miracle, it's already chasing you. It's been gathering momentum while you were sleeping, collecting the pieces of your life into a perfect alignment. The miracle doesn't always come in thunder or fire, it often comes quietly, like sunrise after a long night. You won't always hear it coming, but you will feel it when it arrives. This rising won't look like anything you've experienced before. It won't come from the same places or people that once disappointed you. It will come fresh, unpredicted, undeniable, unstoppable. The hand of God is about to turn the page of your story. And when He does, the waiting chapter will close forever. You've been faithful with little. Now heaven will trust you with more. The miracle that's rising is not just a blessing, it's a birthing. Something new is being formed inside your purpose. The struggle was the labor, but the promise is the child. Do not despise the pain. It was the sound of destiny being delivered. There is divine timing in every delay. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God's silence was never rejection, it was orchestration. He was aligning people, moments, and opportunities so that when your miracle rises, it will have roots deep enough to last. You are standing at the threshold of divine reversal. The season that tried to break you will become the evidence that built you. What once looked like loss will now be revealed as strategy. You will soon say, "Now I understand." And when the rising begins, you'll feel it in your spirit. First, a gentle stirring, a sense of readiness, a peace that makes no sense. That's how you'll know heaven has stepped in. The waiting has expired. The miracle has begun to move. Stand tall. Chosen one. You were never forgotten. You were simply reserved for such a time as this. The world is about to see what heaven has been shaping in secret. The dawn is here. And your miracle, yes, your miracle is finally rising. Every sunrise that follows will remind you what once broke you now builds you. The night did not win, it only revealed the stars. You are not rising from ruins, you are rising from revelation. So lift your eyes and breathe. The wait is over. Heaven's hand has turned your page. The storm has served its purpose. From this moment forward, the impossible becomes inevitable. Your miracle lives now. And now, as this final word settles in your spirit, take a quiet breath. What began as a whisper has become a confirmation you were never forgotten, never overlooked. You've walked through the refining fire and come out carrying light. This message was heaven's reminder that your miracle is alive and your purpose is in motion. If these words have met you where you are, let gratitude rise gently. When you like this message, imagine striking a single match in a dark room. It's a signal that says, light still lives here. When you share, see it as releasing a dove into the air, carrying peace to someone who may be on the verge of giving up. When you comment, let it be more than words. Think of it as engraving a small prayer on sacred stone, an eternal mark that says, I was here, and I believe again. When you subscribe, it's like anchoring your soul to a flowing river of truth, returning each time to drink from the same well of hope. And if your heart ever feels stirred to give, do it freely. Picture it as planting a tree whose fruit you may never eat, but whose shade will comfort someone else. Nothing given in love ever disappears, it multiplies. You are part of this divine circle now, a community of hearts who choose faith over fear, generosity over silence, and light over despair. Together, we become living proof that hope is still stronger than darkness. So, as this message ends, let it continue in you. Carry it forward in the way you love, the way you forgive, and the way you rise. The miracle began here, but it will grow wherever you go.